So, with the Crimson Tide set to take on Mississippi State this weekend, Alabama is going to be looking to make a major statement, especially after the disappointing loss at Texas A&M. This has been echoed by players, and also Nick Saban during his press conference had some interesting things to say that I think we need to get into. But before we do, as always, you know the drill. I want to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe we see a major comeback game for the Crimson Tide against Mississippi State? Let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed this content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions are massive to content creators such as myself. But with all that being said, let's get into it. And first and foremost, I want to kick it off with talking about why this game is so big. And it's very simple. It's something that Alabama players have echoed and even stated themselves. When you came out as flat as you did last week against Texas A&M and you go forward against an opponent that just beat Texas A&M, you have the opportunity to correct some things. The Crimson Tide are in a position to where they're very lucky coming off of a loss that they're still ranked 5th in the nation. And if you look at the stretch of their schedule, so long as they can win out and continue to improve, they hold a good portion of their future in their hands. Now, there is no argument that ultimately Alabama will hope other teams that are undefeated will continue to lose, but with all the craziness that's happened in this college football season and all the big games still left to be played, there are undefeated teams going to be dropping games. So now it's up to Alabama to be able to improve based off of what we saw last Saturday, the inadequacies we saw last Saturday, improve on them and move forward. And if they do that and are able to win out, they control their destiny. So that's the first reason as to why this game is huge. It gives us the first opportunity to see improvements being made from a team that quite honestly got outplayed last Saturday. Alabama came out flat and they got beat in every facet of that game. And even though they were almost able to mount a comeback, the mistakes just piled up and were too many to overcome. It was very interesting listening to Will Anderson because he was saying that the message he delivered to the team after the Florida game obviously wasn't received, because if it was received, the result wouldn't have been what it was on Saturday. So it's going to be interesting to see if now this message is heard. Brian Robinson identified Will Anderson as a leader on this team, and he certainly shows it every time he goes out on Saturday. He has been a bright spot for this Alabama team, but there is a lot that needs to be corrected. And so it's certainly good when you have someone who's been identified as a leader coming up, talking about these things, saying they've been giving these messages to the team, but now we have an opportunity Saturday to see if that message has hit home, to see if anything will change, and if Alabama can come out with intensity for 4 quarters. But that gets me into something else, because when we're thinking about where Alabama can improve, we all need to remember this right here. This is an incredibly talented team. And even though right now there are certain things not going according to what many expected, this is a team that I still have faith in can get it fixed and get where they need to go. They do have that talent, and they've shown flashes of it through portions of this season. However, I do think Nick Saban said something very interesting when he was asked about the A&M game and specifically the run. Nick Saban pointed out that it wasn't really something A&M did to stifle the run, more so Alabama just stopped running the football, and that gets me into my first thing. That the play calling on both offense and defense was just simply perplexing on Saturday. There really isn't a better way to talk about it. You know, when we did the live stream the other day, one of the things we were talking about and almost pondering is there was an absolute lack of execution on Saturday. That much cannot be argued. But my question is how much of this lack of execution boils down to the players being put in a position that is not conducive to succeed based on the play call? For instance, Alabama kept trying to run a blitz that just was not hitting home, and they never really tried to change it until it was too late. And then ultimately they were able to have much more success in the second half after making those adjustments. And likewise on offense, as Nick Saban pointed out, Alabama just flat out didn't run the ball when Brian Robinson was having a really good game. As good as Bryce Young is, and y'all know, I think Bryce Young is fantastic. When you have a young quarterback, your running game and your tight ends are your best friends. And right now with Bill O'Brien, we know the tight ends are being implemented. It's just a question of the consistency of the running game. And look, that's something I absolutely am intrigued to see what happens going forward against Mississippi State, because Brian Robinson is having a really good year. And if you can get the running game going, you can put the defense in precarious situations that allow for your offense to really be successful. You alleviate pressure off your young quarterback. You alleviate pressure off of your offensive line that has been all over the place. It's great to see Will Anderson and DJ Dale having this message. It's always good for your leaders to be up there and trying to fix these problems. But at the same time, like DJ Dale said, and to Will Anderson's point, the last time they delivered this message, it wasn't received. Now Alabama took a loss to a team that they should have beat, and now we're waiting to see how they ultimately respond against a team that beat Texas A&M just a few weeks ago, which is why this game is so key. Very interested in hearing from y'all and what you think we are going to see come Saturday. Hop down to the comments and let me know. That's it. See ya.